the router, after to the switch. After that, we need to have a router because we need a device. This device can have one interface on the inside network and one interface in the outside network. You know that in some cases, for example, we are using the router for some special tasks such as the NAT or network address translation, because inside of our home we are using the private IP 192.168.10/24. This means that one of the range of RFC 1918. Okay, and also the router now should use the NAT feature or PAT feature, port address translation, to converting the private IP to the public IP. And also the router can have multiple types of interface. For example, one DSL interface and one Ethernet interface. Inside we need the for example, the router, because the router is supporting multiple types of interface, Ethernet, and this is maybe for example, DSL interface, or maybe if it is fiber, we can use again Ethernet fiber interface, for fiber Ethernet interface. And this means that at least we need some of these devices. But let me to say that in some cases, maybe you need another type of device. For example, you want to have the firewall, okay? Instead of buying a firewall, it's a good practice to using the firewall and router in one device. For example, this is the firewall. Okay, how we can, for example, use these devices or create these devices. Also, you know that the router should connect to the one modem, okay, one DSL modem or cable modem, and after that the modem can connect to the router. Okay, how we can, here we have DSL interface on the modem, and if the modem is internal in the router, you can connect the DSL line to the router itself. But in external, we need a modem, and here if you are using the external modem, you can connect modem to the router with one Ethernet interface, such as this scenario. And actually, we can say that we should have one, for example, device with different capabilities. For example, here you can see that we have one box. In this box, we have multiple devices. A modem for terminating the DSL line or the cable TV line, okay? After that, a router for NAT and also some other functions, such as converting the, for example, to Ethernet to each other, to Ethernet frame to each other, between the private IP and public IP. We need to have NAT to get here. You know that in most cases we are receiving one IP address from the DHCP service of the internet service provider or ISP. Here we have one public IP, here we have one private IP. We need a router to translate between them. And also in some cases the router also itself should give to the inside of the network the private IP address. Actually, the router is a DHCP client for receiving IP from the ISP, and also it's a DHCP server for giving the IP to the inside of the network. For acting as the DHCP server, this is a DHCP server with the private IP address, and for acting as the DHCP client, it is receiving the public IP address. Actually, we need a router for many functions. Also, we need a switch for wired connection and one AP for wireless connectivity to the, for example, giving the wireless connectivity to the wireless client. Actually, we can say we need one device. Okay, we need multiple devices: modem, router, switch, AP, and maybe firewall. Okay, because of that, if you want, you can buy all of this device individually. It is consuming a high cost. Why? Because each device has more capability than you need, okay? And these devices, normal devices with individual capability, are only using for the enterprise's LAN, okay? You are using all of them in one small, for example, office, home office, such as a home, such as a office. Because of that, you need to pay more cost. you can buy one small office home office router. Maybe you are calling this device wireless router. Okay, wireless router or a small office home office router, both of them are same. In this device, we have actually multiple devices. In this box, we have multiple devices. Look at here. We have a cable modem. We have a firewall. We have a, maybe this firewall is software firewall. It's okay. We have one router, one switch, access points, and you can connect the wired client to the switch, wireless client to the AP. Here you can see this device. For example, in this device, first we have one interface. This is the interface of the modem. Maybe the modem is residing in this device because you are actually connecting to the modem. After that, there's ISP to the modem. It has one console interface for configuration. It's okay. Here we have for example, wired connection for RJ45 interfaces, and this is here. These are the interfaces of the for example, switch. And also inside of this device we have one AP. That AP propagate RF or wave. And don't forget, this AF is this AP is configuring in the autonomous mode. You know that we can configure one AP in two mode, autonomous mode and also the lightweight mode. Here we don't use WLC, wireless LAN controller, for configuration of the AP. We should configure this device individually because of that this AP is working in the autonomous mode, and because of that everything should be configured individually on this device. Also here you can see one of these ports connected to the switch. If you want, you can connect this switch to other switch for more for example, interface. Actually, in the SOHO, in the small office, home office, in most cases we are using one device with multiple capability. For example, inside of this device, we have one Ethernet switch for the wired Ethernet connection. We have one wireless access points or AP to communicate with the wireless devices and forward the frame to from the wired network. You know that the function of the AP is converting translating the 802.11 frame to 802.3 frame, means the Wi-Fi to Ethernet and also the Ethernet to Wi-Fi. Okay. Also a router to route IP packets from the LAN to WAN or from the WAN to the LAN, and also some functions such as the NAT, such as the giving the IP to the inside of the network. And also maybe a firewall, which often defaults to allow only clients to connect to the servers in the internet, but not vice versa. In Cisco, we have many type of the small office, home office router that we should select one of them for our SOHO according to our need, according to our throughput of data, or maybe some capabilities that we need. But finding the suitable small office, home office router in Cisco products is not so hard, because we have some, for example, requirement, and after that we can compare our requirement with the capabilities of the SOHO routers, and after that we can easily select one of them, and after that with one device you can use all of your functions in your home. Okay, and this is so interesting. You don't need to buy a router, buy a switch, buy one access point, and also maybe firewall and maybe a modem. Okay, you need to buy only one device easily. After that, after connecting the device with some, for example, graphical user interface, or in some cases command line interfaces with some little command, okay, little number of command, you can easily configure that device, and finally you will have one complete network in your SOHO. Because of that, this is one of the useful and also interesting devices that we can use it. Very good. Now let me to talk about the one technology that we can use it. The name of this technology that we are using this technology today is in our networks, in LANs, in our LANs, okay, is the PoE, or Power over Ethernet. Okay, let me to talk about the PoE, or Power over Ethernet. What is the PoE? What is the Power over Ethernet? You know that in one network, for each device, we need to have power. For example, for the PC, for the, for example, switch, for the router, and for any other devices, we need some amount of power. This is the PC, for example, and then server, and then switch, and then router. You know that in traditional networks, we are using the AC power, okay, the power of our building for supplying the needed power for these devices. And you have used the power or AC power for example, working in your network. It is okay. But in today's network, we have newer devices. We have new type of devices that for